Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Taxila Management School and FWS for providing me this opportunity to speak to you about sharing my experience about change during my professional life and last few years in teaching. And I will take you through this journey in the sense that I think my work has also been made a bit easier by Dr. Rizvi because I'm going to speak on that level 5 leadership to extend to India as a nation. And these are timeless principles. Now, just a minute. This is to be, which side is it?
Right and left.
Okay. Greek philosophers said the only constant is change. And I want you to think in terms of, when we talk about change, let me take you through a perspective on change. Before that, let's see. Very exciting times. I think you heard the speakers speak a lot about a number of things. I will just share with you. It's so exciting in the sense that we have India is among the Committee of Nations. We are a poor, low-income country. We have 70 crore, 65. I think this is the last figure. Smart. Happened. Okay. So 65 crore almost, and I'm sure it will be reaching about 70. 75-year-old company. This is Enfield Bullet brand. And we have established businesses which have been challenged, their supremacy. Look at the AI, literates and illiterates. One is using the fingerprints or the thumb, and someone is trying to learn. We're trying to teach them signatures. Dollar is floating all around. The size would surprise you if it doesn't. Prior to GFC, global financial crisis, it was in billions. Now it goes to trillions. At the peak was 9 trillion, still the strongest currency. AI, was just watching a movie, which was Matrix, okay, saying they're talking about equalization, human beings being equal to computers. They are far ahead. And I think this has already been spoken about that in a very, don't want to dramatize about it, but in very evasive ways that we should stop the development of AI as it has dangerous consequences. Bitcoin, no fiat. It's not, it doesn't have any backing of anyone. Software currency, it was $2 trillion at the peak. It's 1.2 now. Disruption is the name of the game. The two fields I worked in, one is finance, financial services, and second one is the academics. And both are being disrupted in ways unimaginable. Okay. Now look at, we live in a world which is extremely, which is chance and accidents. I don't think we are used to evaluate in terms of probabilities. Let's look at the discussion I'm going to have is what is change? How do we view change? Do you think that all change is planned, or is it random? Any guesses? You'll be surprised, both, but you'll be surprised that if you read the history, that how these changes at times have changed the course of history. We talk about innovation, and I take the example of fintech, how they've disrupted that. And change agent, if India as a country is to be projected as one so-called Viksit Bharat, whatever time frame you take, I think we need to have I'll share with you my thoughts on this. And I think Dr. Rizvi has already spoken about that there are issues with respect to the problems we face. How we handle those issues will be key to our becoming, say, the developed country. Change and a better future. Amazon founder once asked about the question, what is going to change? He said, that's not important. What's not going to change is a more important question. Why? He said, I can't imagine a future. I do not know what will happen in 10 years from now. But I'm sure that people or my customers would be wanting lower prices and faster deliveries. Is there anyone who disagrees with that? And most of the investment which Amazon is making is in these areas. Business life cycles, I think you're a business student, and I can tell you that the kind of knowledge decay which takes place is amazing. Knowledge used to stay there for, there are various studies which speaks about that science, mathematics, accountancy, a few areas, the lifespan of knowledge has shrunk sizably, and so the business life cycle. Today, most businesses, they have a life cycle which is reduced to about 7-8 years. I've written about 8 to 12 years, depending on which business we are in. What will not change is surely that the success of a business leader getting into their heads and losing their edge. This has not changed for decades, will not change. And this is what Nassim Taleb calls fooled by randomness. A student getting a good grade, a faculty becoming a good teacher, a trader making more money, a business showing more profits, and a leader being at the helm thinks that it's because of their ability. True. But is it that random chances or random events played, if the events were to play differently, would the outcome be any different? We are not used to thinking in terms of probabilities. It's only binary, success or failure. The life is much more than binary possibilities. Now, look at India's top companies, even the companies which dominated in 70s, 60s, 80s in the groups, and where they have been. And today, like public sector units, which was there in forefront till 2010, look at today banking, IT companies. Reliance probably is one exception, which has stayed at the top in 2 consecutive decades. Okay. Now, whether it's social organization, I mean, this is business organization as well as social organization. Of course, they are guided by not only the one who started their value system, and also by where do they get their funding from. Okay. So their change in terms of approach will depend on how they are funded. Whatever task is assigned to them, can they contribute effectively to that? Is all change planned? We can plan houses, manicured gardens. This is the interesting part, that if you go back to history before your birth, you will worry to change anything. And some of you who are interested in history, let me take you this Battle of Long Island. On that fateful day of 28th of August 1776, the Revolutionary War would have been killed if the wind was not blowing on the east side of the river. British forces would have finished Washington's, and there would be no United States of America. Okay? Read that history. It's a very interesting part. This is the guy in a very celebrated one. Nassim Taleb is his name. His guru is Victor Niederhofer. Both of these guys are PhD economics from Chicago, one of the celebrated institution, PhD in economics. He was afflicted with throat cancer. He found out that he has throat cancer. Teetotaler, no vices, no smoker. And he found his probability is 1 in a million of a person of his profile getting a throat cancer. And on that basis, he designed his trading strategy and came out with his black swan event. The events are not as unlikely as we imagine them to be. So his guru was a seller of options, and he became a buyer of options because he decided the risk is not as remote as it is made out to be. Innovation. The first person in economics to talk about innovation was Schumpeter. And when we say that leading the innovation, it basically is for more profit. Either we look at the new product or new markets. And a process of creative destruction will get you to what is innovation. And in my industry, fintech has been one area which has really led that innovation as an area which has turned into a flood. Now, because of technology, when you say the cost of storage, the faster communication, it all altered the profile of businesses and so-called startups, number of them. So processes, services, cost efficiency, and they removed what I call intermediation. Wherever there was intermediation, they were removed. So fintechs have virtually removed most part of intermediation and largely been B2C. Now, if you look at traditionally, the financial services and the banking, they were domain of, say, physical or spread geographically so that you could serve more customers. With the changing landscape, it became easier to serve more customers and you had a networking effect. So today, big data has replaced. Today, you want to see a customer. You want to get a customer online. It's much easier than it was sourcing customers earlier. Okay, and these are the models basically that traditional players, which was like banks. And today, banks are either buying fintechs or they are, some part of their business is being shifted out to a separate subsidiary companies. Now, so far, this was about change. We don't think change in terms of probabilities. But when I say leading the change, and Professor Rivzi talked about level 5 leadership. Have you read his book, From Good to Great, Jim Collins? Any student? Anybody read his book? Yeah, I'm sure. I think, now this is, I realized that this was, for those who haven't really read that book, it was basically that 1,400 companies were studied over a period of 14 years, and 11 were found that they passed the test of being great companies. Okay, and you could disagree with data or but you can't disagree in the sense that they became the great organizations. And what made the study was the process, how they shifted from being good to great companies. And second, can those lessons, whatever lessons you draw from them, can those be replicated or repeated so that any good company can become a great company? The same thing is true about societies, communities, and countries, in my opinion. Now look at, for example, good, he says, is the enemy of great. I've got an A grade. I'm very happy. I'm earning profit and growing at 15%. Okay, very happy. Now we are happy, large companies are happy doing what they are doing and doing very well. There is no striving to achieve excellence. You're happy in your mediocre thinking. Now, what he said, that black box, which transform A to B, from good to great companies, this black box has 3 components. And this is my central idea, that unless in finance I have seen, in field of investment, discipline. And I regret that we as a society is not as disciplined as it is to be for whatever name you want to give. Viksit Bharat, a great country, a great place, etc. Okay. Now, what it meant, Right people focused on excellence, not only doing well. Second was honest, not like the ostrich, which was shown in the previous this thing. Okay, that we don't duck the facts. If the fact is staring in our face, we must accept and take action. And then disciplined action. What is important and what is not? I think that distinction need to be very, very clearly made. And the role of leadership. And I think people in this game become the most important thing. And each one of you, India has advantage of having great human resources, but those resources get wasted in case they are not into the right direction with the right focus and focused on excellence. Of course, I mean, I'll just skip this principles. Now, from a large number of people are from HR, and I think I've seen in corporates, you need to fill up the position in a certain number of days. Okay, that's the kind of your KRA. How many positions are filled in time? But when in doubt, keep looking. When you need to make a change people. Okay, either change the people or change them. Okay, and put your best people in highest opportunities. And you need to decide on fox or a hedgehog. I would leave that to fox knows many things, very, very wily animal. And hedgehog knows only one thing, how to ward off the predator. Change agents. I think one very important aspect which I think corporates understood, but probably is not enough attention given to it, is power of incentive. Okay. And one example I just share, and I'll just take another 2 minutes, was Federal Express. Now, Federal Express was, the idea is that you get the packets in time at night to a central location as fast as possible. Okay. They tried a lot of things. They tried paying by hour. They tried various incentive. Unless till the time somebody came up with an idea, let's pay them by shift. Once they did that, everything fell in place. So right incentive are, organizationally and even for people, for example, are people enough motivated? Now, India, I would say the ideas have a time. Whichever idea we say, that some ideas are before time, they don't succeed. But today, for example, India as a country can't really be ignored. And I would say we have everything. Notwithstanding all the issues which Professor Rizvi raised in terms of, that what issues we have, we are ready to take our place in Committee of Nations. Now, enablers. Again, I'll go back to the same three things, that if India is to be a developed country, we want to increase our welfare of our people, etc., we need to be doing things in a disciplined way. We need to be empowering, giving them knowledge, preparing them to take their desired place in the world. There is no denying the fact that Indians are very intelligent, very adaptable, and I mean, a whole lot of things, positive things can be said about. But we are also very, I think the negative points have already been spoken about. There is a lack of values, sensitivity, etc. Okay. Now, the challenge is, what is the most difficult part in this entire game is human behavior. How do we change? We think that we change. It's like I always say that whenever we go to some satsang or go to some area, of course it's not the time for your age. We all feel very, very good and listen. We come back out of it and then everything is lost. Okay. But one thing without which nobody has succeeded, I would be happy to take input from you. Anyone in the audience can tell me one indisciplined individual has succeeded, mavericks apart. Okay. Again, one or two. Those are extremely talented people. Okay. And those are one in billions, one in millions. Okay. So without discipline, nobody has succeeded, no country has succeeded. Okay. However we bring about, that's a different question altogether. Okay. Now I'll avoid the case study. It was basically the changes. Okay. I'll stop here because I think I already exceeded my time. And thank you so much for patient listening.